The Jets, maybe Aaron Rodgers wishes he had pursued running for vice president more thoroughly than he did. He recently told Tucker Carlson that he did think about it. I still don't know how he would have managed that with, his job, but still, early in the year, that Achilles is going to get tested, and everything else on his 40-year-old body is going to get tested. 7 standalone games in the first 11 games of the season. Twice they have Sunday to Thursday turnaround in the first 9 weeks of the season. Yesterday, on a conference call with the NFL, and they do this every year, they take questions about the schedule. And there was a question about the Jets' schedule, which is front-loaded with these primetime standalone games. Mike North, the VP of Broadcast Planning, said this: when we had this conversation a year ago, we were, all of us, all in on the Jets. And for that guy to last 4 plays was disheartening for many of us. I feel like we could run it back, and certainly our broadcast partners, when they came to us early in the process, talking about what storylines they want to focus on early in the season. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers' return was a key one for everybody. Hopefully he stays healthy, and hopefully they're relevant. The key words in what he also said, which does not appear on the graphic, I feel like the Jets kind of owe us one. When I heard that live, and you're sitting there listening to these, and they do these conference calls, and usually it's just word salad, word salad, word salad, word salad. When he said, I think they kind of owe us one, I thought this is gonna piss some people off, because the Jets owe the NFL nothing. You think the Jets benefited from only having Aaron Rodgers for 4 plays? When you owe somebody something, it implies that you got something that you shouldn't have gotten. The Jets didn't get anything good out of that. Their season got derailed. The NFL made a bet, as they do every year. They make a wager on which teams are going to be desirable and which teams aren't. If that doesn't work out, it's not the team's fault. It's your fault for betting on the wrong horse. You bet on the 39-year-old quarterback playing on one of the worst turfs in the game. Oh, but the injury rate is the same. Kirk Cousins tore his Achilles. Get out of here with that shit. You made a bet on a 39-year-old quarterback playing on one of the worst surfaces in football that he was going to stay healthy all year, and it blew up in your face. The Jets don't owe you anything. And the reason I'm upset about this, they're messing with the Jets' schedule this year to make up for the bad bet they made last year. So here we are with 40-year-old quarterback who's coming off of torn Achilles tendon, who's got to go short week, trip to San Francisco, then come home and not have a home game week 2. Got to go to Tennessee for week 2 after short week in San Francisco week 1. And then short week to New England. They play 3 games in 10 days, Myles, all because they owe us one. The Jets owe us one. And Mike North doesn't strike me as the kind of guy that's going to say things he shouldn't say. He shouldn't have said that. It's nice they said the quiet part out loud. There's an easy way to stick handle your way around this if you're the NFL and justify why you did what you did. This idea that the Jets owe us one, again, whatever happened to the integrity of the game? See, this is a TV show, and this is where the pursuit of money, the pursuit of maximum ratings, laying the foundation for putting all the TV contracts out to bid again after the 2029 season, it gets in the way of giving teams a fair shake. And it's not, it'd be different if the Jets had won the Super Bowl last year, or it even gotten to the playoffs. But the Jets are paying a debt because they had a disaster season last year. So you're setting them up for another disaster this year? If I'm a Jets fan, I'm livid about this.
I think that there's good reason to be upset about it. Yeah, I think that saying the quiet part out loud, that as Mike North did, is a weird take at best. They kind of owe us one. Man, I heard that, and I was kind of put off by it, I guess. I mean, not because I think that the Jets are great or anything like that. It's just I don't know that really is how we should be thinking about things. Like the Jets are trying to be competitive. We don't even know how competitive they're going to be. I mean, this is a team that reportedly was trying to hire above its offensive coordinator. And if that's getting leaked and it's May, like this has a chance to be a very dysfunctional season for the New York Jets. And if it is, then it's one that we're going to see a lot of, at least early on. because of all these high profile games that they're going to be playing in. So yeah, I don't know about that comment. I don't know what the Jets are going to be this year, but I do know that we're going to have a front row seat to most of it because they're going to be on TV in front of our eyeballs a lot.
I mean, the truth is, the broadcast partners clamoring for Aaron Rodgers. We want Aaron Rodgers. Let's get Aaron Rodgers. So they loaded up early before the Jets have the wheels come off, because that's been the characteristic of the Jets season each of the last 2 years. They still went 4-3 in 2023, even without Aaron Rodgers. The wheels came off after that. The year before, they had a horrible stretch to start their season. They were 5-2 at one point, and then the wheels came off. So let's get them in prime time before the wheels come off. The problem is they're kicking the wheels off by doing this, by having them hopscotch the country and play short weeks twice and all these primetime games. There's an extra layer of stress and strain that goes into all of these standalone games and all of this travel early in the season, just so we can say, hey, yeah, here's all these great Jets games. Watch Aaron Rodgers while you can. You never know when the other Achilles is going to go. Well, they're setting it up to go at some point in the first 11 weeks.
Grim. That's very grim. I hope it doesn't. I mean, I
it's not inaccurate
for all players. I know, but
I'm just saying, let's be realistic about it. You're putting him in a position where this 40-year-old body is going to be strained beyond reasonable limits from all these games on short. The guy hasn't played. The guy played 4 snaps since January of 2023, and he's getting thrown into this meat grinder because the Jets owe us one. Because how dare you get injured last year? Now go out there and entertain us this year because you didn't do it last year. Isn't that ridiculous? That's a ridiculous mindset. It's dangerous to Aaron Rodgers, and it's disadvantageous to the Jets, and it compromises the integrity of the game.
Yeah, but I mean, everybody's got a schedule. I mean, I don't know. I don't know about compromising the integrity of the game. I think it's
by doing it this way.
Deal with stuff.
Hang on, Myles.
I hear you.
Hang on. Let me say something. I'm throwing my flag. I'm cutting off. I'm cutting you off. I'm sorry. Right. I don't do it very often, but I'm doing it. You still, I think, have an obligation to balance things out. It can't be, let's have the best possible TV audiences. That can't be the driving factor. See, the problem is, and people say to me, why do you hate the NFL? I don't hate the NFL. I love the NFL. But I think the NFL, the league office that runs things, should do it fairly. It should be a fair balance for all teams, as fair as you can make it. There was a time, and they pointed this out yesterday, every team had to play. There was a rule. Every team has to play in a primetime game. Now, we don't want the Panthers. Nobody's going to watch the Panthers. We want the best teams. And at some point, it's just going to be whatever we think every week is going to lead to the biggest ratings and the biggest numbers and the most money. That's what we're going to do. And it's unfair to certain teams to do that. And I know the Chiefs still won the Super Bowl last year despite being, the Chiefs are the exception. They've got Patrick Mahomes. I think it's unfair to a team that was bad last year to throw them into this potentially unfair schedule simply because they didn't deliver last year because their quarterback blew a wheel 4 plays into the season. It's just, I'm telling you, if I was a Jets fan, I would be beyond livid about what they did and how they just came out and admitted why they did it.
But the expectation, because they have one of the greatest quarterbacks that's ever played the game, is that they're going to be good. So that's where that's where it is. And they play in one of the biggest media markets in the United States.
Do you think they'll be good?
The biggest media
Do you think
market.
they'll be good?
I don't really know, Mike. Frankly, no, I don't. But but they could be. They having Aaron Rodgers is a huge difference maker. It is. So it doesn't really matter what I think. Their offensive line should be better. I think that with Aaron Rodgers and his experience, if a bad play comes in, they can change it. I mean, they're not necessarily going to have the continuity of play to play and setting things up for later, but that it helps when you do have somebody who's got that kind of experience behind center and has that kind of ability. We'll see. I mean, look, Aaron Rodgers was talking about maybe coming back and playing last year, and I don't know how real that was or not, but
that was look at me, pay attention to me. It wasn't real.
Sure.
That was attention grab by a guy who loves attention.
Well, what else is look at me than playing all these games that are going to be in front of people?
That's true.
So,
that's true.
That's going to be the thing that is either going to put Aaron Rodgers back in the conversation of, man, he is still great. Or if he's not, then we're all going to see it. So that's what it is. When you have a high-profile team, they're going to be in high-profile games.
Tom Brady has screwed up our expectations about quarterback longevity. I remember when Matt Hasselbeck was continuing to play beyond 40 or at 40. I went back and actually did some research for a change on quarterbacks who played beyond their 40th birthday and how they performed. And for the most part, it's done by the time you get to 40. It's done. It's over. Now, Brady did it, and Rodgers just has had this presumption that he's going to do it. And I could see why, when you're in your 30s and you're highly functioning, you assume it's going to last forever until you wake up one day and realize it's not going to. When you tear your Achilles tendon 4 plays into the year that begins when you're just a few months from turning 40, why do we have any reason to just assume he's going to start 17 of 17 games? And I'm with you. I want all players to be healthy, but we know the reality is very different from that. You know, we spend all this time in the offseason talking about what could happen in the coming year. And the one thing that we don't factor into our conversation is the reality that guys are going to get injured and it's going to change everything. But we're not going to sit here and throw darts at who's going to get injured. Hey, look at that. I think that guy's an ACL tear waiting to happen. It's stupid to try to do that. But the reality is there are guys out there who have, ACLs that are ready to go. They have Achilles tendons that are going to pop, and it's going to change everything. And we don't know until we get into it. Making this bet, doubling down on the Jets, the year after the bet blew up in the NFL's face with the primetime games they gave to the Jets, it's a mistake, first of all, and it's unfair to the Jets. It throws the competitive integrity of the season out of whack by expecting the Jets to go out there and perform for us and entertain us. And I think there should be, and I think they need to take a step back and look at this. Look at the various things they do to balance out the NFL. The draft, the worst teams get dibs on the next crop of players. They do the scheduling formula where the spot you finish in the division dictates it's only like 3 of your games now, but still, that could be all the difference between making the playoffs and not making the playoffs. They need to factor some sort of competitive equity into the scheduling process where if you were bad last year, you don't get thrust in all these situations. Even if you were supposed to be good last year and you ended up being bad and we think you're supposed to be good this year, I still think they need to consider what you did last year before putting that extra burden on a team this year if they want true competitive balance and true competitive integrity.
But they don't want true competitive balance. I mean, they want ratings they want money. They want money.
They want money. It's about money. That's the reality. We're peeling back the onion here. It's the chase of maximum ratings, which is part of the chase of maximum cash. And I'm sorry, 345 Park Avenue, whoever there might be upset by the expression of that opinion, but it's a fact. And we know it's a fact. We study the sport long enough to know that there are certain things that are put up for our benefit that are a facade aimed at hiding the reality. And the reality is it is a cash grab. They want to get to $25 million a year in revenue. That is the Roger Goodell obsession. We got to get to billion in revenue by 2027. Money, money, money. Ratings, ratings, ratings at the expense of competitive integrity. And it's unfortunate. And again, if I'm a Jets fan, I am beyond pissed. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.